Workplace etiquette matters. It is along the lines of creating a social, diverse work environment and an inclusive work environment. It also respects your space and your professionalism at work and for your company. So it is important to know certain things. Interactions in the workplace matter. If you're going for business trips, this also matters. So what do you wear to work? Well, if you're going to work, dress like your boss. If it's a relaxed company, jeans and a t-shirt, that's fine. Just don't put things on your t-shirt that says something negative or offensive. Plain shirts are better. If they're a suit-wearing company, wear suits, or sports jackets. Do not wear jeans to work. Try not to stand out there. You want to look like you fit in, and this might be that kind of company. So dress appropriate as an employee, and if you're looking to stand out on your own, that could be, some people in creative work environments want to look different from one another. I get that, but just respect that. If you're in a different culture, respect their attire as well. Body language, handshakes matter. Handshakes should be firm and with eye contact. Not too firm, don't squeeze too hard, and gestures should be limited. Do not have your hands flying around everywhere. Avoid this. Do not do this. Things like that. You never know, that could offend somebody. Pointing at somebody directly can be seen as very negative. So don't point. You can go like this to point to people. Keep your hands together, closer to your body. So volume and location. When you're speaking somewhere, speak where people can hear you respectfully, and if you're at a place where it's loud, go to a place where you can be heard. If you feel that you need to whisper, then it might not be a conversation you should be having anyways. So you should have that in a private space or something. So be careful of that. You don't want people to look at you as if you're gossiping or seen as excluding others. So find your private spaces where necessary. Written communication should always be professional at all times. Yes, it may become casual where you say, "Hey, Craig," or something. Best, thanks. Use full sentences though, and be clear and respectful. So don't use slang, words that are offensive. Avoid that in your written communication. Time. Be on time. I don't care where you are. Always be on time. Some cultures, being on time is seen as negative. So you should be early. That's what that means. Then be on time. It means to be early. To be early means to be on time. If you're in some cultures where being on time isn't normal, well, try to be there on time, or respect that time gap if people don't show up, even though you did. Even if it's like a party in other cultures, where being on time is abnormal. Some will say 6 p.m. and nobody shows up till 9 p.m. So if you show up at 6 p.m., you're really just volunteering to help set up. So just remember, different time matters. What it means to be on time. Internal events, and external events, company events in general. You are representing your company. You're responsible for yourself to be professional and greet others. Do not think you could be let loose if you're at a company event like a Christmas party. You need to be respectful and remind that you are still responsible and could lose your job. So, meet others, greet others. It's a great opportunity to meet coworkers you never really got to know, or it's exciting for me because sometimes I'm on the phone with somebody I never saw them and I get to see them finally at an event. They put a face to a name. It's really fun. Introductions are important. So if somebody's around and they're by themselves, introduce yourself, get to know them. So do not get too comfortable where you start getting too jokey or say things that you think is funny, but it's at the expense of others. That's not okay. You can be funny and exciting, but don't make fun of people or others around you. It's not worth it. It's not acceptable. So be professional amongst your coworkers. When in doubt, err on the side of more formality and respect. Always wins. External events. Have good conversation starters. Have a playbook in your mind, things I enjoy talking about where people are from. Let others speak and let them talk about themselves in a nice way, because people like to share stories. Give people a way to enter the conversation. So don't just talk about yourself. When somebody asks about who you are or something, that's a moment where you introduce yourself and then let others be heard. The basics. Leave your phone at home, somewhere away from you. If you can't be away from your phone, keep it away from you. If you can have your phone by your side and leave it in your pocket, even better. That's great. Great constraint. Do not be on your phone the whole night. That's rude. And disengaged, so look engaged. Do not chew gum. It looks rude and it's inappropriate in conversations. Drinking and alcohol and drug use. Even if it's legal, I do not recommend marijuana. That just doesn't make sense in a business setting. I just don't get that. So don't. Alcohol. Know your limits. I cannot stress it enough. Do not think if this is a party, I have to drink. Or if I'm in a place, people in these countries drink a lot and I have to drink a lot. No, if you can't handle it or you're going to be inappropriate, you're going to lose your self-awareness, then don't drink. Keep it to 1 or 2 drinks. That's it. There's nothing wrong. Like I said, if you can't handle it, don't drink at all. There's nothing wrong with that either. You can still have a fun time at these events. It's again, if in doubt, err on the side of greater formality. Table manners matter. And there are different contexts based on culture. So I'm going to try to address both in a context of international settings and local. When it comes to being seated, you put your napkin on your lap once you're seated, or it's done for you. But do that in a way where your napkin stays nicely and unfolded, and food can drop. If it's a hosted event, wait for the host to sit and place their napkin. So show face by sitting last, typically, or wait for others to seat. Now, when it comes to wiping your face, don't just tap and don't make a mess. If you made a mess of yourself, which it does happen, don't worry, just clean yourself up, but also mind your pace. Start with utensils that are on the outside. Sometimes there could be a lot of utensils. So what do? Smaller forks on the outside could be a salad fork, or a spoon could be a soup spoon. As you go through the courses, you will work your way in. The little spoon and fork at the top above your plate, that will usually be reserved for a dessert. So keep that in mind. Do not start eating until everybody else has been served. So wait for the host or wait for everybody to be given a food. If it's a casual event and the people give you think it's okay to go eat, then yeah, that's fine. But if it's a serious event, that's pretty important. Wait till everyone starts. Do not just pick up food. Pass it to your right. But if you can't reach it, ask for someone and they'll bring it over and help you. So, if you can't reach it, ask for somebody. Bread isn't cut. You don't just cut bread with a knife. Usually there couldn't do it anyways. So bread is torn. You could break it apart and rub butter on it or whatever, but don't just, try to saw your knife. Never speak with food in your mouth. So pace yourself. Do not eat too fast. Don't come too hungry. So you can take small bites and be a part of the conversation and not with your mouth full. Focus on the guests. This is an event to get to know people. It's a networking event. So if you want seconds, it's fine, but only when it's offered. Your goal is to focus on the relationships you're developing and enjoying the food with people. Do not feel like you have to eat everything or eat things you don't like. Just be respectful about that. Don't announce and say, I hate this, or I can't stand that. That's rude. They're offering you food and being hospitable. Give it a try if you can. But if not, that's okay. Maybe because of dietary reasons, religious reasons, or whatever have you, just appreciate the offer and gesture and say, unfortunately, that you cannot eat it, or just don't eat it and leave it there. Just whatever you do, be quiet and polite about it. And finally, table manners and the other cultural considerations. Where your hands do not sit on your lap, as they do in the United States. You can see people put their hands on their lap and leave it there. It's better to leave your hands on the table, flat and exposed in a nice, safe way, like kind of like this, and on the table, and so you don't appear to be hiding anything. It's that kind of image. Do you finish everything on your plate? That's a good question. In some cultures, yes. In some cultures, not. In China, finishing everything on your plate can be seen challenging the hospitality of the host, as if they need more food. Japan, finishing of plates can be seen as acceptable. It's okay. You like the food. Making sounds when you're eating your ramen, the soup, tells you really like it. In British culture, finishing everything is normal and seeing that you liked it. But in parts of continental Europe, finishing it could be seen as needing more food as well. So kind of interesting, or as rude. Utensils. Fork and knife. You know which ones to work with and work your way in. When you're done with that plate, for the next plate, or it's the only plate, you take your fork and knife, and if you're not done and you want to talk to somebody, you keep it at 4 and 6 or 4 and 7. No, 4 and 8. And you just lay there, your fork and your knife, and it lays there as an indicator to the serving staff that you're not done eating. You just want to talk, or you're doing something. It's fine. It shows that you're not done. When you are done, you line it all 8 o'clock, fork and knife, as an indication that I have finished this plate, I'm ready for the next course, without having the host interrupt you and see if you're done or not. The serving staff isn't having to interrupt conversations. Chopsticks, learn them. There's no reason you cannot. They're really fun, and they are a utensil just like anything else. So do not risk making a mess and a fool of yourself or insulting the host just because you didn't want to learn chopsticks. Never leave your bowl inside the bowl, your chopsticks inside the bowl sticking out. That's very insulting. Leave it flat on the bowl or on the little serving area where your chopsticks can lay. Never use the same chopsticks or utensils to get food from a bowl and that you're eating your food and then you're grabbing from another bowl. That's so rude. So do not, if it's shared food, do not use the same chopsticks. Different chopsticks have different meanings, so just keep that in mind. And always offer to others before taking your own. So, for example, when you're drinking sake or a beer or a tea, offer them, would you like some sake? And you pour them sake, and they will pour yours. It's a really cool experience in some cultures. And remember, not all cultures in Asia use chopsticks. Even though many do, not all do. Eating with your hands. No, I'm not talking about French fries and cheeseburgers and chicken wings. I'm talking about some dishes are culturally designated as finger food, that you use your hand like to pick up, you have the food and you're scooping up some of the sauce or something and you're eating. Be careful. These are real dishes and very traditional. So use your right hand only to use for food, because the left one is something else and we don't want to talk about that. So you grab with your right, accept with your right, and you eat with your right. Do not put your hands in your mouth type thing, because it's whatever. Keep your hands, for eating, and you just your right hand. So a lot of cultural considerations, a lot of fun when you're going to different countries and you're having different events. Once again, always err on the side of professional and formality. Be nice and appropriate, and do not, be rude accidentally, or you say jokes that are rude. It's not necessary. Have a good time, and just a great way to have time.